To be honest, World Travel Market is largely a travel leisure event, and there are dedicated events for the meetings conference market. And in fact, the major event for that sector is held in Barcelona in about 2 weeks' time, called the WTM. It's one of our sister shows anyway. And we do bring in the MICE market to World Travel Market, but the major meeting place actually takes place in Barcelona. And therefore, you don't really require, two meeting places so close together. Well, I'm very aware that, the Caribbean has seen a downturn of 25% from the UK market. Now, I don't think all of that can be attributed purely and simply to the increased rise in APD, but it certainly had a significant impact, and it's certainly causing major concern with the Caribbean, to the point that the Caribbean tourism industry have put forward a delegation to the UK government. They have spoken to the UK tourism minister, and I am aware that there are discussions afoot to see what changes can be made. What I would say is that it's probably unlikely that APD will be abolished. It's too important a revenue stream to the UK government, but it's about finding ways to make tax more equitable and more fair, and not impact negatively on tourism destinations that really count on tourism for the developing economies. I think one of the biggest challenges for the Caribbean is the fact that it sits in a completely different tax band to the USA. And that, understandably, the USA is their biggest competitive market, and they feel that they're disadvantaged in that. So that's one of their key approaches and key strategies. The other alternative is to look at the entire banding overall, and should it be applicable, not in the 3-4 bands that it has, but just 2 key bands, and reapportion the revenues that are raised between European destinations and long-haul destinations. But ultimately, what is the answer? You have to ask the UK government that one. One of the key trends, and where people are looking for increased value for money, and so long as you deliver value, then I think people will continue to buy into that. But there's no doubt about it, the luxury market has been less impacted than the mid-term market. And people are looking for more cost-effective holidays. But the Caribbean's got a unique experience, and really what they need to do, when you go through difficult times, I think you have to keep marketing your product, selling it, and proving why people should choose the Caribbean in spite of all the challenges. I'm not sure whether you can compare China and Japan entirely to the Caribbean. I mean, the Chinese market is huge. It's an emerging market. And it's at a different stage of its development. So whether you can learn from that, you're probably better looking at destinations like Thailand, for example, who have gone through some very, very difficult times. But through those difficult times, they have continued to market themselves extensively, and they continue to do extremely well. I don't think there is as much international tourism coming out of China as people would like to talk up. At present, China is an emerging market. It's developing, but the bulk of Chinese are visiting destinations like Hong Kong and Macau. So absolutely there are destinations in which to invest in the long term, but I wouldn't expect you to end up benefiting from the short-term gains. One of the most interesting stories, I think, that's coming out of World Travel Market is the first-time participation of Iraq. And I think that is hugely encouraging. Iraq came as a delegation to visit World Travel Market last year for the first time. It does have a fascinating history, which we're not aware of because it's been completely obliterated by, being a war-torn region for so long. But the fact is that, it has got the historical cities of Babylon and Ur that are major tourism sites. It has been the Islamic center for astronomy, music, mathematics. It's got a huge culture there that is completely unknown to us. And about 30 years ago, we would have never imagined that destinations like Vietnam or Cambodia or Croatia would have become tourism destinations. So I see the presence of Iraq at World Travel Market as one of the most positive stories that's coming out of the show. And it's great to see because it's them looking to build for the future. We hope that everybody does fantastic business at World Travel Market. I think it's a showcase that gives inspiration to the industry, and it proves that the industry is going to be around and a fantastic business opportunity for the long-term future. What's being built is a totally new ICC conference centre. So it's absolutely a proper international conference centre that can facilitate, I think it's 5,000 people in a proper conference venue. We have grown World Travel Market, not massively. What we've seen is some significant impact in the European destinations. So we've seen reductions in destinations like Spain particularly. But where we've also seen growth is some of the emerging economies like India, which has grown by 28%. So overall, World Travel Market is bigger than it was last year. We've got more participation from companies and organisations, but the shift and balance of where that participation's come from has changed slightly. Am I a fan of the London Olympics? Yes, I am. Because I think anything that encourages people to be more physically active and inspire the younger generation, then yes, I think that's a fantastic thing. Do I believe that it will improve and grow tourism within the UK market? Right. I'm afraid I'm not one of those believers. If you look and analyse what's happened with other major Olympic destinations in the past. And I think Itoa have a very good point, and I think that's one of the major concerns, and it's something that the UK travel and tourism industry has got to try and overcome and plan for. What isn't right is that we end up being fed, or the industry's fed, lots of aspiring statistics that don't end up becoming reality. We're far better dealing with what is true and realistic and managing businesses around that. Developing emerging destinations, they really value travel and tourism as an industry because it helps them attract new revenues into the destination, and it also encourages in destination for them to develop their infrastructures, whether it's roads, hotels, tourism attractions, the sense of bringing revenue into local communities as well that benefit from tourism. So yes, the perspective on the value of travel and tourism as an industry is quite different depending whether you're a developed or an emerging destination. There's quite a few new things that we're addressing this year. We've just run our sports tourism conference. Clearly with the Olympics around the corner, then that's an important sector of the industry. But that sector is much bigger than just mega sporting events. It's also about people participating or supporting events. So that's been a very interesting debate. We've got Iraq exhibiting at World Travel Market for the very first time, which is encouraging. It's a really positive story. The fact that India has expanded by 28% and is bringing many new exhibitors into the international marketplace is fantastic. So we've got Lord Digby Jones coming and doing a special business session to support small, medium-sized companies to try and help them get through the economic downturn and give them guidance as to how to survive in a difficult climate. It's been a very challenging year for the travel and tourism industry, there's no doubt about it, one of the most challenging. And what we have seen is shifts and trends. So the European market has been particularly badly hit this year. And so we've seen a drop in participation from some of the key European destinations, such as Spain, for example. But what we're also seeing at the same time is growth emerging from particularly the BRIC economies and actually particularly India this year, where we've seen a growth of 28% in participation from the Indian delegation, which just reflects the growth in business that is emerging from these new emerging markets. When we first started, I think, or when I started, which was 25 years ago this year, it was nothing like the international marketplace it is now. And the fact that we can bring people, both exhibitors and visitors, together to facilitate this multicultural business opportunity is just phenomenal. It's also become a much more business-orientated event than it was when it first started out. When I first got involved with World Travel Market, a lot of destinations were using the event to PR its profile and tentatively putting themselves on the international stage. Now when people come to World Travel Market, it's absolutely to facilitate international business, and going away and feeling that they've got a return for their investment is absolutely key to them. So we've become a much more business-focused event and not just purely PR profile.
Is that better or worse?
No, I think it's better. I think there's a place for both areas, and at the end of the day, the industry is a very sociable industry. Networking is important. I think that's one of the key strengths of World Travel Market, is the fact that our industry does do business best when they develop and build relationships. And the fact that we're all disparate across the world, the fact that events like World Travel Market pull the industry together and help them do that and get more out of their business and their friendships, is a really positive thing. I also think World Travel Market's played an important role when the industry goes through extreme times of difficulty. I mean, I think for me the most remarkable time was post 9/11. And that was a hugely difficult period for the industry. The whole world was rocked and the industry was rocked. And after 9/11, I had nearly 400 emails in my inbox saying, "Are you going to cancel World Travel Market?" But it's under circumstances like that, that's absolutely what you don't do. It's very important to pull the industry together to help, and it gave them an opportunity to rebuild their confidence, to share the issues, the concerns, how are we going to get through this. And actually the result is that now we have to live with the fear and challenge of terrorism, but we're much better at dealing with it now. The effect it has is it helps shape the holidays that the ordinary traveller will end up seeing and experiencing either in their local travel agent or being able to book online. So the trends that emerge, the development of things like activity holidays, the development of eco-tourism, responsible tourism, the opening up of the gay and lesbian market. These are all developments and trends that have been facilitated through World Travel Market, and we take a pride in trying to identify what are the new trends for the future, the new opportunities for the future, which are partly industry related, but they're obviously ultimately about where the consumer goes.
What about the travel market itself? What's the future for that?
Well, I hope the future for that is that it continues to grow, develop and expand and service the industry as it should. I think its success is based on developing in line with industry needs and requirements. That's absolutely our agenda. We're there to service the industry and do it as best we can, and I hope we just continue to do that and get better at it.